So this is the first video I've had probably in about 40 days. I'm trying to do some videos, more frequently. I just really didn't have anything to do a video on. So uh, I will say, I just want to say thanks to all the people that watched that Death Wobble video. I believe as of today, which was May 18th, there was like 205,000 views to that video, which is pretty cool. I've tried to answer all the comments. I think there was like 900 comments or somewhere around there, 1,000 comments. I tried to answer them all, but I'm just getting to the point where it's, kind of repetitious. I'm answering the same things over and over. So what I will say is if you want to know what the outcome, what the problem was with that bike, which is right here, if you want to know what the problem was with that bike, there is a response video to that Death Wobble video, and I'll put that in the description below, because I think I'm probably just kind of played out on answering comments on that video. So most of them I'm going to say were great comments. I appreciate all the people that wish me well and hope that I got better, and glad that I worked out that death wobble. Don't know if it's really a death wobble. That's what I called it, but some people say it was a tank slap. Whatever you want to call it. But I am going to do another video on some of the responses that I got in that video, because there's just a lot of different things that people were saying was the cause of it. So I'm going to do a separate video on that a little bit later on. I will tell you that since I made that video, I've only actually put about 20 miles on that bike. So it's been almost a year. In another 3 days, which was my birthday, is the day that I took that. So today is Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday the 18th. So another 3 days. Saturday is going to be my birthday. So I am going to take the bike out on Saturday. And the only reason I put like 20 miles on it is because shortly after I made that video, it went in the shop, it got repaired. I rode the bike home from the shop, which is about 20 miles. Never had an issue with it all the way home. It was fine. Shortly after that, I went into the hospital. I'm not because of the bike or anything, but because of other issues. I'm not going to go into those issues. There are videos up there as to why I was in the hospital. By the time I get out of the hospital and I recovered enough to possibly ride, now we're looking at October, November. Kind of cold out, winter out, so I didn't get to ride, all winter long. Now we're in May. We've had like one of the shittiest springs that I can remember in a long time. It's been cold, it's been windy, just terrible riding weather. The last couple of days have been pretty good. But we've been trying to get our vegetable garden in for the year, and so we've been working on that, working on some outdoor projects, trying to get some of this stuff cleaned up. We had a big tree that fell down. I did a video on that. I'm trying to, get that stuff cleaned up and moved around. Just trying to get a lot of work done so we're not working in the middle of June and July when it's 90 degrees out and 80% humidity, trying to get some of that stuff cleared up. So again, I'm going to be taking the bike out this week. I'll do some videos on that. We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, tomorrow I was planning on going to the shooting range. I haven't been there in a while, and I think actually it's been over a year since I've been there. And my membership is going to expire in June. I got to renew that, but I think I was going to go tomorrow to do something. And so I pulled this out, which is one of the guns I'm going to take. And this is a 1974 Series 70 Gold Cup, 1911. Back in 1974, this was rated the most accurate handgun in the world. Now, when I bought this, I don't know if you can how good it is, but you can see it's got like some kind of chiclet trigger on here, which kind of sucks. So I talked to Colt because I might send this back to them to have them put an original trigger on it. I could do it myself, but I'm not exactly sure about the trigger that goes on there, and I want them to verify this and get a certificate of authenticity for this gun, because this is a collector piece, and it's coming up in 50 years. In another 2 years, it'll be 50 years old. So this is part of my collection. So I thought about it, and I'm like, well, maybe I should go do some reloads. And I realized I didn't have any dies for 45 ACP, so I figured I'd do this video on doing some reloads. So I'm going to take you upstairs in my garage, and I'm going to show you the setup I have to do reloads. So let's take a walk up there, and we'll take a look at all of that. Okay, so we'll start off with this this press. This is a Dillon Precision 550B 4-station press. And you see down here, you have the 4 stations. So if you put, this one I've already belled, so if you put this in there like that, that kind of holds it in. That's what these plates are for. And what this first station does, if you see down in here, you can see primer, spent primers, and then there's primers in here. You fill this with primers. So when you go to the first station, what it does is it deprimes it, and then it'll prime it. I don't have any primers in here now. Then you move it to this station, it'll actually bell it, and it drops the powder charge in. So you do that, drops the powder charge in, then you bring it over to this station where it seats the bullet. I'm not going to put the actual bullet in there. And then you bring it over to this station where it seats the bullet and it crimps it. Well, it crimps it. So you can see the bell on this is a little too much. I haven't really adjusted this for the 40 caliber, but you see the powder is in there. There's no primer in there. I don't have any primers in that, but anyway, that's how the whole station works. You've got these things here. So here's another one of the powder dies look like, and you can see you take this kit, because each one of these dies, you have to have one of these kits to go with a set of dies. And what's in this kit? This one happens to be for 380 auto, and this thing here drops down in there, because it's not going to be at the bottom when you do it, but it's going to be like that, and that will drop the powder charge. And then you have this plate, which is right here, which holds the cartridge in place so it doesn't go down. So you need both of these when you do dies. So you can get these things, and you see I have one brand new here for the 380 tool head. And once you set all these up, you just disconnect this powder thing, unscrew it here, and then you can put this aside. So anytime you want to do, like this one's set up for 40 Smith & Wesson, anytime you want to do 40 Smith & Wesson, you just pop the die, and you don't have to recalibrate each one of these dies. So in this one, I'll set this up for 380, and once I set that, I can take it off. So it's just a matter of swapping these out and connecting this back up, the powder charge back up, when I want to do the dies. So I've got, what are these? These are 380 auto right here. And then here's the, the bullet itself, a 380 auto bullet itself. So I have a bunch of, let me close that so I don't lose that. So I have a bunch of cartridges over here. So these are, I don't know if they're Smith & Wesson or these are Ruger, but, so you have them in bags. So like these are Smith & Wesson 44 cartridges. And then I have another bag of, these are Remington 44 mags, because the cartridges are different depending upon the load you want. So what you do is I go over to, I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you go over to one of these reloading manuals, and you pick out, the cartridge that you have, like that 730. All right, so here's 44 Remington. So these are the, if I was using these Remington cartridges, I'd come over here, I'd find out the weight that I'm using. These 44, these are 10 millimeter. So I don't know if I even have any 44 loads over here. I don't think I do. Oh, what are these? All right, so these are 44 Rainer loads. I don't know if I have Rainer in this book. Those are jacketed hollow points. So anyway, you go up here and you pick the load you want. Great, velocity is 1570 at 21 grains. So you put those in. You fill this up here, and you weigh it out with a digital scale here, and then you can adjust this depending on how much powder you want to go in. So you do a couple tests and you weigh it when you're done, and then you go around and you seat it. Now normally what I do is I run about 10 off initially, and then once I've got those 10 run off, I'll go out in the backyard and I'll load them in and I'll fire them. Let me go get another piece of equipment and I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so one of the things you got to do before, you know, you get the cartridges looking fairly clean. I mean, these have to be run through it again, but you put it through this cartridge cleaner and you have this type of medium. I forget what this is called, but you can use a bunch of different things to put in here. You can use walnut shells, you can do different kind of shells. I forget what exactly this is. I don't have any more of it, but once you turn it on, let me see. Yeah, there it goes. So you can see how it's going to vibrate. You let that go for 3 or 4 hours. Of course, it has a cover. You know, you put this cover on it, and let's see if I can get that back on. So you put that cover back on, and then you screw the top down, and you let that go for 3 or 4 hours, and they come out, you know, fairly clean. They have to be, some of this stuff has to be run through again, but these are some of the 40s that I've already made. And I made these a while ago, but see, these are some of the 40s here. And like I said, what I'll do is I'll make like 10 or 15 test ones, then weigh them out, and then what you do is you take this and see if I have one that's open here. Yeah, you take one of these. So this one here is for 44 Magnum. I don't think I have any 44s up here, but this is for, these are for 40s. So what you do is once you're done, you take this and you just drop it in this side to make sure that it's going to go in the barrel. Okay, so that's the first thing you do is you test it like that. You can drop these things in, and just to make sure they're not going to hang up anywhere. It kind of gives you a good indication. And then you take wherever my calipers are. I have a set of digital calipers, and you measure. You know, you're going to measure the total length of the shell. You're going to measure the width. You're going to measure the crimp, and it tells you everything in one of these reloading guides over here. All the specs should be of the shell. Here's another one of these Dillon tool heads that I bought for the 380, so I can set that up. Oh, here's my, I think this is the digital. I don't know if I can open this, hold on. Yeah, so here's my digital calipers that I measure everything with to make sure everything, you know, is fit like it's supposed to. And then once I'm done, I set this up, this chronograph outside. And what this does is you shoot, I think it's about 15 feet, 10, 15 feet. You shoot through this, and what it does is it registers the distance between here, and it'll give you the velocity of that shell. So then what I can do is I can come back up here and say, okay, the velocity is too low. I want to increase it a little bit, so I'll add a few grains of powder to it, make a few more, come out and test it again, and when I got the velocity right, then I just, you know, I can crank out, I don't know, 300 rounds, 400 rounds in an hour. So it moves pretty quick once you have this set up. Takes a little bit of time initially to set these up, but once they're set up, you can just keep cranking away. All you got to do is keep pulling down on the handle. It automatically, well, it doesn't automatically rotate. I think the newer ones out now will automatically rotate. But you just kind of move it. Do each one, move it. You know, put a shell, put the load in up here. Put the cartridge in, automatically puts the gunpowder in over here, crimps it, pops out. Then you just, you know, run them through these die things here. Like I just got a set for the 380. I'm still going to get a 45 ACP P1, but I've got enough 45 ammo right now that, you know, I'll reuse the shells and stuff like that. And then you have this piece here, and what this is this is how you put the primers in. So I'm not going to dump these in, but so I'm not going to be using them right away. Anyway, you take these. I'll dump a few in, and you dump them in like that. Then you put the cover on it.
and then you kind of shake them around like this, because you want them all to go one way, and they're not all one way. You can, you know, flip them around and everything like that. So then what you do is you take these 3 different rods, depending upon the these are for small pistol, so these are going to be for the 40. Then I have primers for the 45, for 40 and for 45. Then you take these and you just kind of pick these up one by one, and then you put it in, put your finger over it, put them in, drop them in down here. So as you're going through and de-priming it, it's automatically going to put a primer right in there, and then you go forward with it and it seats the primer. You see how that comes up a little bit? So it seats the primer. It'll de-prime it and then prime it at the same time. So it's pretty simple. I mean, once you get the hang of this and you start working with it and setting up different things, it goes pretty quick. So I said I got 40s here, but I bought enough ammo over this past year anyway, so I don't need 45s. And then I save the inserts when I go to the range to put some stuff in. So I've got, so these are large pistol primers, so these are for the 45 and the 44. And these are actually for the 44. These are large Magnum primers. And then I have some clear shot. This is black powder for my 1865 Army black powder ball and cap pistol. And there's some, you know, the bullets, the lead balls that go in that. So pretty different, you know, type of stuff I like to shoot. I haven't got a set of dies. Really, this is the wrong set of dies for the 762, because it only get these Hornady only gives you 2 dies, and I need 3. So I'm going to have to get another die for these. They only, within the last few years, only started doing 762 shells. I don't really know that it's worth it to reload 762s, because the Wolf ammo that I buy is pretty cheap. So, all right, so I think that's going to wrap it up. Just a quick look at, if you ever wanted to get into reloading, what you need to do to reload. It's kind of fun to sit up here and just, you know, crank out 400 rounds in an hour and go to the range. Like, you can reuse these cartridges. I tend to use them 3 times, but you have to measure them to make sure that they're the right length and they're not all messed up. Anyway, so that's going to be it. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll have another video out in a few days on taking the bike out again to see how it's going to ride, and we'll see you then. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me some comments. What do you think? Do you guys do your own reloads? Have the same setup, or you do a different type of setup than this? Thanks for watching. See you next video.